Good evening, this is the World News at 6 on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. My name is Chioma Innocent, and here are the top stories. A Senate leader refused claims of impeachment plot against Akpabio. Kanu asked appeal court to stop Federal High Court's judgment. PDP insists on holding national convention in Ibadan despite court orders, and Senate approves President Tinubu's 1.15 trillion naira loan for 2025 budget deficit. Details now. Thank you for staying tuned. The World News at 6 begins with Leader of the Senate, Bamidele, today dismissing claims suggesting any move to impeach Senate President Akpabio, describing such reports as unfounded and capable of sowing confusion within the upper chamber. Bamidele's clarification followed comments by former Chief Whip of the Senate, Orji Uzor Kalu, representing Abia North, who on Tuesday revealed that they had been passed, though unsuccessful, attempt by some senators to unseat Akpabio. While speaking with journalists at the National Assembly, Kalu had said that efforts to destabilize the Senate leadership failed after key members intervened to preserve unity in the chamber. He urged lawmakers to focus on legislative stability and national cohesion rather than political scheming. However, addressing the issue during plenary, Bamidele made it clear that there was never any plan or discussion among senators to remove the Senate president. Bamidele's rebuttal comes less than 24 hours after Kalu told journalists that some lawmakers had previously attempted to remove Akpabio but were prevailed upon to drop the plan. The detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Kanu, today filed a fresh motion before the Abuja division of the Court of Appeal. In the process he signed by himself, Kanu prayed the appellate court to stay proceedings of the Federal High Court in Abuja, which had slated November 20 to deliver judgment on the 7 counter-terrorism charge the federal government preferred against him. The embattled IPOB leader predicated his application on the fact that he had appealed against the ruling that Trial Justice James Omotosho delivered against him on September 26. He noted that the trial court had in the said ruling dismissed a no-case submission he filed to challenge the legal competence of the charge and the jurisdiction of the court to try him. Kanu, who had contended that the totality of the evidence that was tendered by the prosecution failed to establish a prima facie case against him, told the appellate court that instead of discharging and acquitting him, the trial judge ordered him to open his defense to the charge. He argued that it was wrong for the High Court to dismiss his application without going through the issues he raised about the validity of the charge and its jurisdiction to entertain it. According to Kanu, the charge against him was based on the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act 2013, which he said had since been repealed. He insisted that the constitutional issue of jurisdiction he raised against his trial was ignored by the trial judge. More so, Kanu told the appellate court that Trial Justice Omotosho did not evaluate the evidence of the 5 prosecution witnesses as well as their answers during cross-examination to determine whether the proof of evidence adduced before the court was discredited. President Bola Tinubu has warned the media practitioners in Nigeria to only criticize the policies of his administration with fairness and a sense of national responsibility. He made the call today at the All Nigerian Editors Conference in Abuja, where he acknowledged the vital role of the media in shaping public discourse and strengthening democracy. He noted that to critique government policy, editors must do so with knowledge and fairness, and the aim must never be to tear down but to help build a better society. President Tinubu noted that criticism should not be used to undermine the nation's progress, as the media must remain partners with him in building a more united country. The People's Democratic Party has reaffirmed its decision to proceed with its national convention scheduled to hold in Ibadan, Oyo State on November 15 and 16, 2025, despite 2 separate court orders restraining the party from doing so. In a statement issued today, the party's National Publicity Secretary Debo Ologunagba, who also serves as Secretary of the Publicity and Communication Subcommittee of the 2025 National Convention Organizing Committee, said preparations for the convention were ongoing and that he would hold as planned. He urged party members and the public to disregard reports suggesting that the event had been postponed. He accused the All Progressives Congress APC of instigating efforts to halt the PDP's convention in a bid to weaken the opposition and advance what he described as a one-party agenda. The party further assured members and supporters that all arrangements for the convention were on course and expressed gratitude to those who had already arrived in Ibadan ahead of the event. You will recall that the Federal High Court in Abuja on Tuesday ordered the PDP to suspend its planned convention pending the determination of a substantive suit filed by former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido. Now, the Senate has given its approval for President Bola Tinubu's request to borrow 1.15 trillion naira from the domestic debt market to fund the shortfall in the 2025 budget. The approval came today after lawmakers adopted the report presented by the Senate Committee on the Local and Foreign Debt during plenary. According to the committee, the 2025 Appropriation Act pegged total government spending at 59.99 trillion naira. This figure was higher by 5.25 trillion naira than the initial proposal of 54.74 trillion naira sent by the executive. The adjustment left a total deficit of 14.10 trillion naira. Out of this amount, 12.95 trillion naira had already been approved for borrowing, leaving an outstanding 1.15 trillion naira gap that the new loan will now cover. The Senate also adopted a motion sponsored by Senator Abdul Ningi urging the Appropriations Committee to step up its oversight. The lawmakers stressed that the borrowed funds must be used strictly for the purposes stated in the 2025 fiscal plan. President Tinubu had earlier on November 4 written to the National Assembly seeking approval for the fresh 1.15 trillion naira loan. In the letter, the president explained that the funds were necessary to bridge the funding gap and ensure smooth execution of key government projects and programs. You're currently listening to the World News at 6 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I'm now being joined by Mr. Elvis Alimihele for the analysis segment on the news at 6 this evening. Always a pleasure to have you here, Mr. Elvis. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Choma. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for joining me today. Now, let's begin with the very first story we have on the bulletin this evening, and it is that of Senate Leader Bamidele refuting claims by Senator Orji Uzor Kalu that there was a move in the Senate recently to impeach Senate President Godswill Akpabio. He's coming out to say that that is not true. It never happened. And so one would wonder, where did Senator Orji Uzor Kalu get his own information from? Who exactly is telling Nigerians the truth? Many Nigerians are now used to the fact that a report will come out, and then before you know it, someone maybe from the presidency, from the federal government will come up and refute it. And many times what we hear, we don't know what is true and what is not true. If indeed there was a plot to impeach the president of the Senate, how did it come about and why did it not go through? We talked about it this morning on our sister station on VOP TV, whereby Orji Uzor Kalu said, oh, we are one big family and so nobody will be impeached. Did our senators and lawmakers and representatives go there to be one big family or to represent Nigerians? If the president of the Senate had committed an impeachable offense, should he not be impeached by the people around him because he's just first among equals?
Definitely. Thank you, Choma. That was where I was going to come in. Because the Senate president is not different from any other senator in the House. He's first among equals. So any other person can actually be picked by the senators to lead them. So if he has committed the fraction that warrant impeachment and the House deem it necessary to do so, they can go ahead and do it. But the big question here, Choma, is the way Nigerians, government and government representative go back and forth when a story breaks. The next thing you hear once is a lie, is rumor and all that. But at the end of the day, you see that even the so-called rumor will be festering, and after a time they will be contradicting themselves, coming to stylishly aligning the rumor with what is actually on ground. A case at hand is the alleged coup, where they have been denying, but we have been seeing that now Silva have been declared wanted, and we've seen that his homes were raided some weeks ago. So that's exactly what is happening again in this rumor that have just come up that there's an attempt to impeach the Senate president. But if you look at the relationship between the Senate president and the members of the House of Senate, you discover that lately there have been some kind of raising our eyebrow against themselves in the Senate, and
and skirmishes,
and
whereby you have a lot of people actually
confronting him. That's
we're not your slaves, we're not your sons, we're not your children.
That's where I was going. That's where I was going, which means some of the senators are not really too comfortable with his style of leadership in the House. So anything can happen, Choma, and we are going to be here again and say, oh, we said it, that they denied it, it was rumor, and it has come to pass, if it's actually going to come to pass. But lately, he has not been having it, as a smooth sail with his colleagues in the House, and anything can come up.
This time around, it's not even a rumor. This is a senator coming out to tell Nigerians.
But since they are denying it, they are turning it to a rumor, because Orji Kalu is a very high-ranking senator. For him to have come to tell the world that, oh, there was an attempt, it means there was really an attempt, and he is very much in a position to give a better insight into what is happening in the hollow chamber. So anybody that is contradicting what he has said, I think let's just watch and see what is going to play out. Orji Kalu is not a small fry in the Senate. He's been there, and he knows the workings, and he's influential among the senators. So anything that is going to come up that is going to be like, oh, change the leadership of the Senate, or is going to shake whatever is transpiring in the Senate, Orji Kalu is one of those people that will have at least first inkling into it.
Him against the
to me, in every rumor or lies, Choma, there is always some element of truth. Orji Kalu may not be too far from what is going on.
But not worth giving the right information, because whenever there is conflicting information in the media, today President Tinubu was present at the Nigerian Guild of Editors Conference, yes. And he talked about how sometimes the media twist the narrative and that they are not really being fair to his administration. He says, do not tear down my administration by criticizing my policies unfairly. This is a strong warning to Nigerian news editors, because we know that the way news is reported can impact on the way that the people ingest it, the way the people hear that information, the way that they now also regurgitate it and tell it to others. Is the Nigerian media actually being unfair to President Tinubu, or are we reporting it the way we see it? There is no doubt that certain people might have their biases. With the situation that occurred with Wike yesterday, there were several different headlines. In fact, one major newspaper reported it to be that Wike was harassed, while others were like, Wike harassed somebody else.
Yeah.
But is the Nigerian media truly being unfair to President Tinubu, or are we reporting it the way it is, the way we are going? Because we go out on the street, Nigerians talk to us, and many times it's what Nigerians tell us that we come out and put on the media. So if Nigerians tell us that they are not happy with this administration, we will not come here and tell the president that Nigerians are happy with his administration, because then the people will hear us and they will say, you're not reporting what we are telling you to report. So the baseline is the media unfair to this administration?
The issue here, Choma, is that sometimes government officials don't really know the role of media in a democratic setting. The media is the fourth realm of the estate, and we are meant to be watchdog to the three other arms of government. So whatever we report is scrutinized, and we have to let the people, because we are like an intermediary between the government and the people. So we must do our job. Now, because he is now in power, he's seeing the media now as like, unnecessary critics to his government. But when he was not there, Choma, like in 2012, when he was part of those that led that anti-subsidy removal by former President Goodluck Jonathan, if that matter was not reported the way he wanted it then, how would he have feel? Because he was not in government, he could applaud the media then. Oh, they did a nice job. But today he's in government now. If he has removed the subsidy, and Nigerians are now wallowing in abject poverty and suffering. So do you not think the same media who supported him then to pull down that plan by the plans and policies by the former government of Goodluck Jonathan will now still be applauding him again now that he has removed the subsidy and Nigerians are suffering, and say, oh, kudos, you've done a good job? The media must report it as it is. Are we finding it easy since he came into power, since the removal of subsidy is gone on May 29, 2023? The answer is absolutely no. Nigerians are not finding it easy. Nigerians cannot feed. Nigerians cannot even pay their ways to their respective place of work. So we must report it as it is. So because he is there, his feeling is not favoring him. When he was not there, he wasn't criticizing it this way. He felt the media was doing a good job. So that's to tell you that when it pays them, they clap at it. If it's not playing there, they now condemn it. But that will not intimidate the media. We must do our job as it is. He was part of those that were in the trenches during the era of Nadeko. It was Nigerian media that was pushing what was happening to them, the Nadeko members, even while they were in trenches, even while some of them were in, on exile abroad. Nigerian media could report them, and you will see the humiliation Nigerian media faced in the hands of the military then. The media houses were clamped down or were closed down. Journalists were harassed and arrested. At that time, he would have come up with this kind of statement. He could applaud the Nigerian media, but because he's there today, do you think that what you did to others when the media was supporting you, and so the media at this time around, because you are there on seat, we should not close our eyes and not do our normal job? That responsibility of the fourth realm of the estate is constitutionally recognized, and the media must play their role as it is.
All right, then. Moving on in the conversation this evening, Nnamdi Kanu has asked the appeal court to stop the judgment of the Federal High Court in the case of terrorism that the federal government has brought against him. He filed a fresh motion before the Abuja division of the Court of Appeal just today. He signed the process by himself, and he prayed the court, is asking the court to stay the proceedings of the Federal High Court that has already slated November 20 to deliver judgment on the 7-count charges of terrorism preferred against him by the federal government. He's saying this is because the part of the Terrorism Act that they are using to try him has already been repealed. He says the charges against him was based on the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act 2013, and this act has already since been repealed. You know that he sacked all his lawyers. He tried to defend himself. The judge had to beg him, I beg you in the name of God,
yes,
you need to get
you have to
legal
open your case.
representatives.
And
At
open
some
your
point he
case.
said, you have no case against him, I have nothing to say. And then I remember asking, was he making his case worse? Now he's appealing to the appeal courts. This literally looks like an SOS cry. This is a save me cry.
But the case is still before the High Court, and he is appealing to the appeal court now that, okay, the judgment that is supposed to come on the 20th of November should not come up. So what's going to happen? There's going to be a kind of lacuna. If I don't know how that one is happening, is going to be handled by the judiciary or the legal jurisdiction, how they are going to handle such matter. Because in all this trauma, I look at, is he even wanting to actually be out of incarceration, or he enjoys being there? Everybody is like, justice delayed is justice denied.
Wait, with the way he's moving,
yes,
you are doubting if he really
wants to, because
how can he enjoy being in DSS detention for over 4 years?
Then why all this back and front? Let this matter, sail through. If he's going to be going to be jailed, let him know that he's now serving a jail term. If he's going to be free, let him know that, I've been set free because I've been vindicated. But all this back and front, Choma, is solely delaying and denying him of that desire freedom which Nigerians went to the streets.
Basically, he's not helping himself.
He's not helping. To me, he's not helping himself, because there are so many things. Okay, he just woke up that day and sacked his legal team. He knows that he is not a lawyer, and you know what that means. Okay, if tomorrow he may wake up again and say, okay, I want my legal team back, I want to reconstitute a new legal team, and those one will not tell you they need time to study the case again. And you know what that means in the court. To tell the judge, okay, we have just been assigned into this case and we need time to study it. That will take another time. We know all this. Years are running out. He's staying there. Is he happy being there? So I don't know where this matter is actually going with him. But for me, I think this delay are not just necessary at all.
All right, then let's move on in the conversation and talk about the PDP insisting on holding its national convention in Ibadan November 15 and 16, despite a court order stopping that. The PDP says, look, we will hold that convention whether the court likes it or not. This seems to be a contest between weakest camp and those who are not in weakest camp. The weakest faction and the Damagum faction. These people are saying, we don't care what the court says, we will hold this convention. Is the PDP trying to put the party in order, and the forces that are against the party are working to ensure that the party is not put in order to give the ruling party a free sail, a free reign in the general elections? That's
actually what we are looking at now. Choma, how many cases are in the court now between PDP and all their moles that have scattered that party? The convention was to come up 15th and 16th of this month. Now, about one court said the convention must not hold. Another court says the convention should go on. Then the PDP is saying again, another court again said the convention must go on hold, and the PDP is again now say they must go on with the convention. Even if they go on with the convention, these are matters that are already in the court. Don't you think the court will still make a pronouncement even if the convention goes on, and at the end of the day, it might, if it's not favoring the PDP, might be annulled, and that still brings us back to where we are. So if the PDP is actually serious in mending fences, let them dispense with the cases in the court and reschedule their convention appropriately, so that they can even have a headway. Let all these things end between now and first quarter of 2026 and see whether PDP will even still be able to feature a candidate in 2027 general election.
What some Nigerians and PDP members are concerned about is that with these different court judgments and, you know, different interests of people in the party, if the party goes on to try to hold this convention, that there might be chaos, there might be violence, it might be disrupted. We've seen it over and over again in our political processes, whereby thugs are used to disrupt political gatherings.
Yes.
It's happened to the ADC over and over again, even though that is a different scenario. But if the PDP is insisting that we want to go ahead and hold this convention, no matter what the court is saying, no matter whose ox is God, no matter which faction is happy about it or not, would there be violence?
Yes.
Should they be prepared for that?
Yeah, and that will not help any side, any part of the faction, because if talks comes in and raids the convention ground, it's not going to help the PDP itself, and it's not going to help the factional side of the leaders, because people may lose their lives. Who will account for that? So I think the Damagu faction that are saying the convention must hold should find a way to dispense the cases in the court, so that they can plan an appropriate convention for PDP. People are still interested in PDP being able to organize themselves and mend fences and let the umbrella find a way to get probably a tailor to start mending the umbrella back for them, that have been torn. But the way things are going, the way they themselves are even handling the matter, they are not helping issues. I don't know what Nigeria will expect from PDP come 2027 general election as it is.
It's quite an unfortunate scenario, because if the PDP seems to be in limbo, we've not been hearing about the Labour Party in the news, maybe until they begin to have issues with the different factions in the party. The ADC as well, they really have not been saying much, and they're not really speaking with a united voice. What you have is Amechi speaking for himself, Atiku speaking for himself, Peter Obi speaking for himself. We seem not to have a united opposition, and that is why, again, I'm asking, would the APC not have a smooth sail in 2027?
As we speak, they're already having a smooth say. Now there is no credible political party in Nigeria that anybody can say, okay, let me even go and slug it out with APC. Where is that party? Even the one we're even looking at, I was not even really looking at ADC, Choma, because I know the formation of ADC, all the leaders that came up to say, out of revenge or whatever, vendetta, we want to form ADC. There are people that are very, very greedy and want to remain in power. So ADC itself will still have his problem. But I was looking at SDP to some extent. But SDP itself now has factions too. They have the former chairman of SDP.
Even if they have factions, are they popular among them?
No. You see, that popularity would have come up with time, Choma. If SDP is settled to some extent, by the time we get to 2026 and everybody is getting closer to the 2027 general election, and we see that there is no other credible political party, and they can come up with a credible candidate without rancor, Nigerians will have sway and say, okay, let us go for this. Because that was what happened in the 2023 general election. We saw the way Nigerians, switched to Labour Party just like 6 months to the election. Something like that can happen. But let the political parties begin to mend fences within their home, so that we can have one political party that we will use to bail ourselves out of this stronghold of APC. Because the way it is, if we allow APC to go in this manner, it will have a smooth say in 2027 general election, and there will even be no opposition. And at the end of the day, what we are crying now is just a little of what we are going to see before 2031. Choma.
All right, let's quickly talk about the Nigerian Senate approving a new loan for funding in 2025 budget deficit. About 1.15 trillion naira has been approved just today by the Nigerian Senate, according to the request made by President Bola Tinubu. Now, the Senate gave its approval for the President's request to borrow 1.15 trillion naira from the domestic debt market to fund the shortfall in the 2025 budget. This approval came just today. The report was presented by the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debt during plenary. Now, many Nigerians may not really understand what it means to have a budget deficit or to fund the budget, and they'll tell you, we're already in November. Why do you still need to fund?
Which of the budget are we funding? Are we funding 2024 or are we funding 2025? Are we not even supposed to be talking of 2026 budget already in the house now? Talking of approval for 2026. So there are so many lacuna here. I even saw a story. I think early this week where I was saying they have even exceeded the borrow for this year budget. So which I don't know the one the president is seeking, but unfortunately the Akpabio led National Assembly has actually said that whatever the president in the executive throw at them, they are going to get it approved. At the end of the day, it has been approved. But the approval of this money that we keep hearing and we keep analyzing in media here, Choma, how has it affected the life of Nigerians? We hear approval, we hear borrow, we hear loans left, right, center. Are we really feeling it the way this humongous amount of money are being mentioned daily? That's the big question. So it goes to the same way that we have been seeing it, but we are not feeling it. But the approval have come. Let's watch. But Nigerians are even expecting that by now the budget for 2026 would have gotten to the National Assembly. Let them be debating it, and let us also follow them up. It's a shame that we find ourselves in this matter.
What you said about President of the Senate saying whatever the president brings, they will approve. Many Nigerians actually remember him making that statement. That takes us back to the issue of whether they tried to impeach him or not. Even if they did try, would it be possible to impeach him when he has the president's approval, when he has the president's support? It's just like when Wike is involved in any situation, and many Nigerians say, oh, can the president see this and call him to order? And then when that doesn't happen, they say, oh, that shows that the president is supporting everything that he is doing. We have seen, just like many political analysts are saying and have said, that the legislature seems to be in the pocket of the executive.
Yeah.
And so
especially this 10th National Assembly.
Even if his colleagues come out to say, we are not happy with you being the president of the Senate, without the approval or the backing of the president, can they impeach him?
No, it will not work, because if it's in the good book of the executive, especially the presidency, he will not leave that office. And as we've seen, I don't think he has even had that crack. He hasn't had that crack with the president. If that crack is not there, every plan by his colleagues in the National Assembly will not work. Let me tell you, Choma, the president knows those he knows he will be able to work with, and he has carefully selected them. And Akpabio has actually been one of those that he has brought in. Did you remember how Akpabio got into the Senate? He never contested for that election. You remember he contested for the APC as a candidate an aspirant for APC presidential election, and he was not part of the primaries, and eventually he went to the court, gave it to him, and he became senator. So there have been an orchestrated plan right from time that he got to this level he is. So such person will not want to step on the toe of the executive, because he knows how he got to where he is today. And if he is in the good book of the president, no amount of fights that may want to come between him and his colleague that will say true. So it will all die down, and the presidency might even start using their various anti-graft agency to start hunting those who are muting the idea to remove the person that they believe is their own henchman right there in the Senate. So those people who are even conceiving it, they should watch their back. If it's not sailing through, the presidency will see it like a coup, and they will begin to use EFCC and ICPC
as a coup against Akpabio.
Against Akpabio, because it's Akpabio and the legislative arm of government and the executive arm, as it is today. There's no separation. It is 5 and 6. So anybody that is doing that is going against the bidding of the man he has put there, who has told Nigerians that he's going to do the bidding of the president, no matter the bill he brings in, he's going to say true. If that person that is wanting to remove him and he does not watch his back and he fails, the presidency will go after that group or the number of persons that are involved. They'll use the EFCC and the ICPC to chase them out, and those ones will be the one that we will read in the newspapers.
Thank you so much, Mr. Elvis. It's time for me to go. The conversation continues on the Evening Rush with Esther Nwachukwu. Thank you so much for listening. This has been World News at 6. My name is Chioma Innocent.
Thank you, Chioma.
Stay tuned and keep listening to Voice of the People 90.3 FM.